So, okay, call the meeting to order here at 5 p.m. First up on the agenda is we have some guests here from the U.S. Forest Service. We have White Mountain National Forest. We have Scott Hall and Ryan Toomey. Hi, gentlemen.
You sure? I brought two just in case.
Oh, no.
They have it in their portal, so they're all set up here.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Ryan Toomey. I'm the Assistant District Ranger for Recreation on the Pemigewasset Ranger District. And I'm filling in for my supervisor, District Ranger Brooke Brown today. And so we're here to talk about the Lost River Integrated Resource Project. And it's a proposal for an integrated resource project that will support recreation, forestry, and wildlife habitat. And it's going to be happening, well, the proposal area is off of 112 and 118. So it's right, you know, in your neighborhood, up the highway there. So there's a variety of different projects in this package, and there's right now we have a 30-day comment period that is out for the public to comment. And you can go to our website and our public-facing White Mountain National Forest website, submit your comment. You obviously review the project, and there's all the details that we won't get into today. I'll just be kind of pointing out sort of the high-level projects that that this is going to support.
That to our website too for our residents.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
We did that when we first sent it out.
That's wonderful. Oh, thank you. So anyway, the entire draft environmental assessment is there for review. So please take a look at that. But in synopsis, it's for the timber and veg management and wildlife piece. There's about 1,100 acres of veg management that's proposed. And so the thing to consider with that is, despite it being 1,100 acres, we're not talking about cutting trees in all 1,100 of those acres, or many of those units are identified for different types of cuts where we only cut like 20% of the trees or 30% of the trees. And the map on the back talks about that, the details around that. So so that's kind of a good thing to keep in mind when you're trying to understand the forestry practices that we have. That it's not just clear cutting all 1,100 acres. There's a variety of different cuts that have purposes to release early successional trees that create good habitat for neotropical songbirds, deer. So that's the veg management and wildlife piece. The next piece is the one that I know more about, the recreation piece. I'm the recreation manager on the forest, or on the district, on the Pemigewasset Ranger District. And so the two projects I'd like to highlight there are the Elbow Pond camping area redesign. And currently there's about 12, or there are 12 campgrounds out, or 12 campsites rather, campsites on the Elbow Pond Road. You're probably aware of them.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them are down right on the pond. And so the proposal is to remove the ones that are within 100 feet of the pond to protect water quality and to protect the riparian habitat around the pond, and to reduce the congestion to the day users that go down there and want to launch a canoe and fish and have a more quiet experience. So we'll be proposing to relocate up to 17 campsites on Forest Road 156G, which is that first road on your right. And so the campsites will be sort of dispersed between that road and Elbow Pond Road in this concept. However, it'll be camping by designated.
Goes towards Warren.
That's that 156, like past that first campsite.
Where the bridge is, you turn to the right.
Yes, not all 17 will go there, but some will go there, and this up to 17. We, realistically, we probably won't build 17 total, but they'll all be nice, high and dry campsites, sustainable. you know, and not in that, you know, right off the pond and muddy and wet.
Will there be someone there monitoring them,
Yes.
like a campground host or something? Because I know we've had problems up there in the past.
We'll have the roving patrols and, you know, and we are fortunate that I know that Woodstock Police does actually drive by there. We've actually talked to your chief here and, you know, because we looked at the shooting area as well and we tried to decide, you know, what should we do with this? And talking to your chief, you know, he really felt like if we leave it where it is, you guys can help us keep an eye on it. And so similarly, you know, their presence there helps, but then we do patrol it. We, you know, we have less staff than we used to have, but we do patrol with volunteers and staff as well, the best we can.
So basically what's happening now with the sites that are actually on the pond, they're gonna go away.
Those, we're proposing that those go away. And so, and also to eliminate the site proliferation where all those sites were just created on their own. We didn't design any of them. We're going to, it will be camping by designated site only. So there will be a site marker that has the rules of use, you know, pack in, pack out, you know, don't litter, you know, fair food storage. All those messages will be on a site sign with a number on it, and people will be required to camp at those sites.
There's a section where, the main road stops and it goes over Philly Mountain Trail. And then from there in to where the, pond actually is and the boat launch, pretty rough condition. Is that gonna get repaired?
No, there's not a plan to fix it up or fix that section up at all, no.
Tough getting in there with a boat when it gets, soggy.
Yeah, it's a tough one. So the other project for recreation is the Gordon Pond Hiking Trail decommission. It's a about 4 mile trail that doesn't have a good access point anymore, as those of you that are knowledgeable of the area know. Gavoni's restaurant where people historically would park. You can no longer park along the highway there. So so it's been a real problem for access. There's been a lot, if you Google, you know, Gordon Pond Trail, you'll see a lot of horror stories of people that couldn't find the part, you know, where to start, got lost on the trail. Access is a major issue there. So, you know, we explored some different options and ultimately, because there's an alternative route to get to Gordon Pond via the Kinsman Ridge Trail, we determined, you know what, we can just decommission this. People can still walk it. That doesn't mean you can't walk it anymore. We're just not going to invest any more federal funds into maintaining it. So that's that. And then for transportation, there's 5.2 miles of reconstruction that's being proposed. And so those are roads that have previously been used for hauling timber. So those are roads we used 20, 30, 40 years ago. And so it's putting the drainage back in, you know, blading the ditches, you know, resurfacing if there's some bad spots, you know, in order for the, you know, the log trucks to be able to go in there and haul timber. There's 2.8 miles of road classification, which is adopting roads that were never adopted into our road system. And so those would be roads that were, you know, maybe Forest Service built roads that just never made it to our road system, or roads that were previously existing. And then when Forest Service acquired the land back when we made that acquisition years ago.
Are off-roaders gonna have access to them? A lot of times, anybody with Jeep Clubs or any of them, as soon as they see any kind of a road in the woods, they nail it.
Yeah, there's no, unless it's an open road on our system for the public, it would be closed, yeah. And these are typically maintenance level 1 roads that will be open just for the timber sale and then closed again. Unless it happens to also double as say a snowmobile
I
trail.
was gonna say snowmobile ATV.
Yeah, because you'll see some, you're like, well, that's a snowmobile trail. The snowmobile trail will stay open.
Okay.
It just won't be maintained as a road anymore if it's slated for decommission. Because the next thing I was gonna talk about is the 9.7 miles of decommissioning. And a lot of that are roads, again, that either were on the landscape when we acquired it as a national forest, or there were roads that Forest Service built, years ago, but never incorporated into our system. So, so decommissioning 9.7 miles of that. And then, there's 2 gates that are gonna be installed. And realignment of a half mile of the Elbow Pond Road. So those of you that are familiar with Elbow Pond, there's that area that the beavers dam up in that open kind of wetland area.
Yeah.
And so we would like to move the road, reroute a half mile up on that nice high dry land upslope from there. And
There's a private road that does go out around that side, I believe.
yeah, there's part of an old alignment that we would use part of that.
It was old Skid Road.
Yeah. So that's really the gist of the projects that we have, the big ones anyway, and Scott's gonna talk to you a little bit more about how you can comment and be part of the process.
All right, yep, so I'm Scott Hall, I'm the project planner and the team leader, basically. So as Ryan mentioned, we are in 30-day comment right now. That comment period ends next Wednesday, May 14th. So you would have until the 14th at 11:59 p.m. to get a comment in. So as the clock strikes midnight on the 15th of May. So you can do that on our website, or you can send a handwritten comment into our mailing address, addressed to Brooke Brown, our district ranger. So either way you want to do it, we prefer electronic comments. Our website is right there on the how kind of comments section. So you would just click on that link, and then click on the get connected section of that, and then that will take you to our comment form. And our draft EA and all of our supporting documents, so all of our specialist reports, our biological evaluation, and all of our references that we use, all of the science behind what we do and how we analyze the project. Those are all available for review on the project website. I have a couple copies of the draft EA here if anybody would like a physical copy right now.
I'll take them.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
So.
You said it's online?
All
I'll pull it offline. I'm a
Alright.
digital person.
right, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay. So as Ryan was mentioning, the types of timber activities we do, a description of those, I believe, is on page 9 of the EA. So if you want to get a little bit more information on what a group selection is or what a clear cut entails, that is also in the document. Okay, so if you comment after the draft EA is over, we will prepare a final EA and a draft decision. And that will kick off what's called administrative review or objection. So if you comment, you will be eligible to object. An objection basically means I do not agree with your decision. You are wrong for A, B, C reasons, and this is why you're wrong. And you have to tie that to a comment you made. So if you comment and say, I don't agree with the Elbow Pond Road relocation because this is better for whatever reason, you have to say then I object to what your decision because of that reason. And that can be for anything. It can be for the timber cutting, the recreation piece, the trail decommissioning, whatever you choose to comment on. Okay, so. And I don't know if anybody here was at the open, we held an open house at FHQ a couple weeks ago, about a week and a half ago. What was last week? I can't remember.
Yeah.
About a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
About the projects. So about 5 people attended, and we had maps up of the project area and had some good conversation about the draft DA and the proposal and the effects analysis. All right, and that's about it. If anybody has any questions on where to find anything, how to navigate the project websites, how to comment, where to send a hard copy letter if you want to do that, please get a hold of me. My email and office phone number are on the back side of this document. So yeah, any questions? Sir?
Yes, up at Elbow Pond, since there's a lot of cross-country skiing and just wandering in the winter. will there be a new parking area, or is the parking going to still coexist with the shooters?
The parking would still stay how it is and, you know, where the town, I believe, is the one that plows that area where the shooters are, or the state, yeah, okay, yeah.
And so it won't be expanded?
No, unfortunately, we're not able to expand the parking in the winter time.
And then on the other end of expanding, the decommissioning, I was the steward for the Gordon Pond Brook Trail. And what do? Do you just leave it alone, or do you fell trees over it?
We would just leave it alone, yeah, we
Just
would just
let it
allow it
come
to
back
naturally
naturally.
revegetate, yeah.
I think I saw it, but I'm not sure. When do you expect for this? Will this start in 2026? Is that your?
The recreation piece, Ryan can speak on that. The timber, I believe, is scheduled for 2027 to be sold. And then shortly after that, the actual harvesting would begin.
You say sold, just means stumpage for contractors to come in and log.
Yeah, no, it would go out for bid around fall of 27, and then it would, then whoever wins the bid would get awarded, and then it would be up to whoever wins that bid to begin the work.
When they start.
Yeah, they would start building the roads up and getting the infrastructure in place, and then actually start the timber harvesting.
And you foresee that kind of being like one cut, like that may happen all in whatever they decide to start in 2020? Will it go as all one vendor?
No, I believe there's 3 separate sales as part of Lost River. So it would be 3 independent sales, and three companies could,
Bid on it.
yeah,
Be working.
or 3 different companies could win. And it's gonna be about 5 to 10 years altogether as an implementation timeline. It takes a long time for our timber to get cut.
Yeah.
It's government.
Have you received many comments from our residents or input? Has anybody been responding to that?
There have been a handful of folks that would like to see the Gordon Pond Trail stay, but we have a good purpose and need for why it has to. So we'll address all of those. There's a spot on the website called the Reading Room where you can actually look at all the letters that have been
Oh, okay.
inputted so far. And if anybody needs assistance in locating that, just send me an email and I'll point you to it.
The cutting, will that be chipping all of it as well, or will it just be felling and taking the trunks?
It should be felling and hauling.
And then taking all and just leaving the branches and the.
Yes, yeah, we're not proposing whole tree harvest, so yeah, it would be bole only, and then all the slash would remain.
Just stays there.
Yep. And that becomes small mammal habitat, and then eventually returns to the soil.
There it stores the soil, yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. The recreation piece, are you seeing similar like 2027 probably, or?
Yeah, really dependent on funding and
Yeah.
our funding has not been good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, we would implement once we do speak that.
Once you find the funding, okay.
So speaking of funding, the relocation is looking to be a pretty penny. So we have an alternative in place to, instead of relocating Elbow Pond Road, we would just improve the culverts that are out there. Probably put probably 1 or 2 more in place, and then they would be larger, to just get that habitat connectivity improved and stop the beavers from messing the place up every summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Any other questions from the board? Thank you guys very much for coming out and explaining it. We appreciate it.
Good to see you again, Ryan.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, yes, sir. You want both of them?
All right, so next we have approve and sign the minutes for April 8th. So I make a motion to approve and sign the minutes from the April 8th meeting. Do I have a second? All right, all those in favor? Aye. And then,
Dr. Cronin.
I don't think you can find it, he's not here.
Yeah.
No, because he didn't sign on.
Oh.
Thank you, sir.
So I make a motion to, approve and sign and seal the non-public minutes from April 8th. Do I have a second?
Oh, I guess it goes from, I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
Yes.
All right, all those in favor? All right. Next up,
What's that?
we have,
What's that?
that was the non-public,
That was the non-public.
April 8th
And then,
minutes.
yeah,
So now we're gonna approve and sign the minutes from April 22nd.
Make a motion to accept that, as written.
I will second, all those in favor? Aye. There we go. And last but not least, we have to approve and sign some non-public meeting minutes from the 22nd. So I'll make a motion to approve and sign and seal the minutes from the April 22nd.
Seconded.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. All right. All right, up next, we have the White Mountain Motorsports Park parking agreement. They gave us the dates. Did they get the insurance companies to you?
yep,
at this
everything
point?
is attached in there. You
Oh, it
gotta-
is?
Yeah,
Oh,
so, well, it should be, but I do have it, it's right here.
Okay, and
Um,
then the yellow is what we've added based on recommendations from the Public Works Director.
yes.
Okay.
And so they had submitted the one we used last year.
Yeah,
And so I prepared a new one with those changes,
okay,
just in case you wanted to sign, in case you wanted to adopt it and sign it.
Stuff in yellow is new,
Yes,
that wasn't in there before.
no, just that very first sentence was in there before. And Mike asked for us to add some additional verbiage.
so no vehicle or pedestrian traffic shall be allowed to pass through the area between the fence and the Public Works garage. Makes total sense. At least 24 hours in advance and shall be responsible for staking and roping off this restricted area. Perfect. To the evening prior, so basically 24 hours prior.
And it's their responsibility to get a hold of me during working hours, not, you know,
I mean, is this being, should there be a note to remove the staking and the fencing?
oh.
Within-
That's a
yeah.
good,
There's something in it about cleaning up after themselves, further down in the,
oh, is there, where,
about cleaning up the trash and everything.
No, I read that.
where's?
I don't remember what letter it was, but it's.
But maybe we should add the
Oh,
whole,
I'm thinking, let me get back here. And I can add in removal. And if you want me to add that, you guys can motion to adopt this and add it, and I can have a copy for you guys to sign in the office.
yeah, I think it's valid to
We'll just spell
include
it out.
that, to spell it out.
It did, first couple of races, they grade staked all around the grass and put ribbon up, and it worked great, and then the last year event, they didn't. And all the trailers trying to get in, all the drivers trying to get in. Fans decided to cut across our area between the fence and the building. And so we asked them to stop that,
No, I think that's,
and then they were parking on the grass out front.
yeah, we
They
should leave
ran
that,
out of parking, and I don't know if they talked to Rex or somebody across the street, but
yeah,
So I'll
keep
get,
off the grass.
oh, sorry.
yeah,
I'll add that, if you guys want
So I'll make
to.
a motion to accept the license agreement with the additions, to part C. And the, note about removing stakes and ropes and stuff after,
And I'll get that.
after the race, or after the event.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll second it.
Okay, and we'll, yep, so, motion to also sign them in the office.
I'll get that done tomorrow.
All those in favor?
Alright.
Okay. Doggy licenses. So we're looking to, increase the vote, or increase all dog licenses from $1, by $1 to help offset rising administrative costs, makes sense. Related to the dog licensing, including the cost of dog tags, paper, envelopes, postage, all of that. Yeah, postage is going up again in July.
So apparently this was a conversation at our executive board, and I didn't realize that this RSA was out there when we were talking about it.
Yeah,
There is an RSA that allows municipalities and cities to increase up to $1.
okay.
Ours hasn't, we have not adjusted since approximately 1977. So,
Been a lot of changes since
you're
then.
seeing a lot of cities and towns start to adopt this.
Yeah.
So this would be effective January 1st, 2026.
So next year.
If,
Okay. Yep.
but it needs to be approved by the board.
Okay. So spayed and neutered dogs would increase from $6.50 to $7.50. And then unaltered dogs would increase from 9 to 10. And senior dogs, first dog only, would increase from $2 to $3.
Right.
Very good. Anyway,
So if they don't have, if they have more than one dog for seniors, it's not increased for them,
No,
second one.
no, this is all governed by an RSA.
So it would be the first senior dog would be $3, and then the second dog would be
Back to the $2.
the
No.
$6.50, $7.50.
750 or 10, depending on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I make a motion to increase the dog licensing fees by $1. And adopt the RSA for 66:39.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Alright. I'm assuming we had to adopt the
You
RSA.
said, yes. It's better to have more than one.
Great. Okay, so now we got some check requests here. So. I make a motion to. Accept the check request for the Easter egg hunt. And the amount of $131.25 to Miss Ann Engler. Do I have a second?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Alright.
Aye. And also. Make a motion to accept, the check request. For Bergeron protective clothing, for protective gear from the Woodstock Firefighters Fund in the amount of $20,617.82.
Do we need to have that discussion?
No,
No, because this is coming from their firefighter fund,
Okay.
so it's their
Yeah.
fundraising money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. And last, is a check request from the Woodstock Firefighter Fund, so I make a motion to accept this check request. In the amount of $521.28 to Miss Melissa Saborn for Easter egg hunt reimbursements.
That's a lot of eggs.
it's a huge event.
It's such a huge event, it's really
Yeah.
cool.
521.
They come from all-
Well, probably not that much right now because of price of, second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then. Make a motion to accept, the donation of $989 from the Woodstock Inn. For t-shirt sales into the Woodstock Firefighter Fund. Do I have a second?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Old and other business. So
You tried.
I tried. I found the House Bill 1550 that I thought would allow us to change the speed limit on Main Street. And I was so proud of myself. I'm so sorry. To have the attorney tell me no, because we don't own the road technically. It's a state highway.
Somebody spanked on email.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
It said municipal highway, so I thought, heck, that's a municipal highway. No, apparently it's a state
Oh, really?
highway.
I was like, oh, that's quite.
So,
Right.
unfortunately, we did try, we looked into it, and unfortunately, we
petition the
cannot. We could try to,
Mike has been petitioning them.
and maybe if we petition them and say, hey, under this, could we just do it for 4 months? Like this bill
Well, yeah,
says
because
could
You
happen,
do that for 4
You know,
months with
We're
a
looking at
class
class
five.
It's
Huh?
pretty black and white,
Yeah.
what she said.
I know.
You know, and I think more importantly, Mike needs to keep pushing, especially coming into the given season.
The chevrons.
Aren't
more
up yet,
important
so,
right now,
and
yeah.
he keeps trying to get a hold of Bill
Still
Lambert.
not hearing anything, it's crickets from them right now.
I don't know
Okay,
if it's down, I don't know. There's a lot happening in the government world right now,
Yeah.
so. But we're trying,
okay,
and he keeps bringing up Main
I
Street
have
too.
another. I have another contact that we could maybe
Okay, yeah.
just tap. Okay,
I've been
okay,
dealing with Bill Heisler.
Oh, Heisler, that's it. I keep saying
Heisler?
Lambert.
maybe Lambert's the one to go to
Bill
next
Lambert?
then. He's the one that came and sat here with us and
Oh,
talked to us
that's what I
about
thought
it.
you were talking about. Yeah, I think we should go to Bill
I
Lambert.
would go to Bill Lambert then.
Can't remember which one's over the other one.
I think-
Bill's, I think,
Bill's the top, the other Bill.
I think I got his number anyway.
okay, if not, I have
I
his
do
contact
too.
information, I think, and Judy does, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try that next. Let's see. Okay. So, yes, sir.
Current agenda and therefore last meeting. On the White Mountain Motorsports Park, that's a license. Is there any fee assessed to them to use that?
Are we
The right of way?
gonna continue?
We're gonna circle back to that when we get to public participation. Okay. Let me just finish what we have under other business, and I'll go back to your
Oh, I
question.
thought- I'm sorry, I thought you said current or.
No, I'm gonna go back to that. No, we're under, other business right now, brought forward by us. So then other business also, or old business, I guess you wanna call it. Is the Linwood ambulance agreement. So, that was sent off to legal to review and Primex to review, and both made their notations. Laura's were the attorneys were kind of minor. The fire chief or their designee shall monitor the emergency ambulance service for the town and shall meet with the LWAS on a regular basis. I would say quarterly.
What page are you on?
I'm on page 4.
Oh.
It says on
lawyer
a
or-
regular lawyer. She had made note, what is on a regular basis.
So you wanna say quarterly there?
I think that's fair. I mean, right now they don't meet at all. I don't think, besides like,
I
Right.
If
kind
they
of had a
have-
question, about that, to begin with anyways.
Okay.
It says the fire department is supposed to get together with them and do whatever their, get to that.
training.
The training.
Training and stuff. What,
I think they're offering that, like the CPR, AED, first aid, the basic like. So if a fireman is first on scene, they'll have some idea of how to start CPR or whatnot, and probably a lot of our firemen are already
I think it's something, it's
certified
already
in that,
place.
yeah.
well, when I see the word critiques in there, I guess my question is, so is the fire department gonna be critiquing the ambulance service?
I don't think they're looking, no, the
So
ambulance,
that wording kind of,
yeah,
and my question is.
We could just remove that. Attend any meetings in shell, just put just take it out.
And well, my question is, why would the fire department be more qualified to critique the ambulance service when the ambulance service? It would, maybe should be the other way around, because you don't have, EMTs from the fire department gonna go in and critique the ambulance service? Am I missing something here?
I'm not sure on that, I mean, it's a
I'm not
valid
sure,
point.
except for the
The
point
way it's
that,
worded, it's kind of gets my attention a little.
The
yeah,
town shall meet with elderly or suburban elderly or fellow employee shall attend.
interestingly enough,
Hmm.
they're the one that supplied this language. The Woodland ambulance,
They did,
yeah,
If I think if it doesn't change-
kind of weird.
Well, I don't know why he would be monitoring the emergency ambulance service for the town. You guys are monitoring. Oh, I think that's, this is what Lincoln's using.
But
This is, we were marking up their contract. So. Do you wanna put the Board of Selectmen? There, because they're
no, I'm just curious
designating a
as
person.
to what
You see what I'm
qualifies
saying?
a fire
I see what
department
you're
to go in and critique. this.
Yeah, but that's not, it's just the person that they're designating. Lincoln's designating that person
Lincoln's
So-
designating their fire chief because he's full-time.
as a representative. Do you
Right.
wanna be the Board of Selectmen as a designee?
Well, we've got Scott there anyways, right? on
He's
the-
already on there, that's what I'm
Already
saying,
on
you
the
could
board.
change that to the Board of Selectmen. Select Board.
Suppose you could, he'll probably take care of it anyways, but.
Well.
Yeah, I mean, we have to, yeah.
Skip.
You
Want me to
would,
change
you
that?
would want a neutral party, yeah.
Yeah, Select Board.
What page is that language on exactly? Because I've just read it
4.
3 times and.
For,
Oh,
right up where you said quarterly.
okay, yeah. Designated shall attend any meeting or critiques and shall attend meetings or sessions requested by the chiefs of either the town or fire or police department. Yeah, I would say
And I mean, actually,
delegated employee shall attend any meeting for critiques and shall also attend meetings or sessions requested by,
and I would leave.
I would
the
say-
critiques there then.
yeah, the board of or the select board,
Yep.
comma, chiefs of either of the town's fire or police departments, because you don't wanna, if the fire chief wants to
Well, he could.
coordinate something with them, I mean,
Well,
or
this
we'll
is-
just put the select board, that's.
What are
Well, I think they'll still do their coordinating like they
Okay.
always have. I think this is more the management side or the.
Okay,
The,
What's being critiqued?
I think. They
Finances?
talk.
and maybe your operation, your response time, if we have a citizen come to us and say, I feel like the ambulance service isn't properly responding to town emergencies or whatever, we can critique that or question that.
I will also
That's-
talk
that's
with
fine.
John about that to be sure that that's what we're.
Yeah.
Before I go changing anything.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, to remove the dispatching language out of that.
Yeah.
I have, if we can back up to page 3,
Yeah,
item, no, it's subtitles C,
okay,
it says, A says transferring patients from local facilities to out-of-town facilities. Then, but then you get to C, it says transferring Lincoln residents out-of-town facilities to local facilities.
It will be
But it doesn't
Woodstock.
say-
it'll say Woodstock,
All
everything, every reference of Lincoln in
Okay.
here will change to Woodstock.
Okay.
They drafted one contract and then we're just gonna mirror
I
it.
would have just thought it'd been easier to cover both of it, so. For residents of Lincoln.
They won't let us,
They know we have to have a separate contract with both.
the lawyer and insurance company want separate
That's fine.
contracts, so.
Yeah.
You're gonna see that throughout,
Right,
yeah.
All right, I get it.
alright,
Page 6, I had a question.
mhm.
You wanna go, can we go page by page, because we have read
Oh,
like
sure, are
5.
there other in between there?
I would just, I would just adopt those are just
Yes.
text, minor text changes.
Alright, 6.
6, her comment, I don't think that's gonna be the case. And that was that, so the language is, that the parties shall agree to adjust and offset future funding request accordingly. And that was language we actually sat around the table and determined was fair. That at the end of the season, if they ended the year, there was, collections were really good and they got our, our contribution and Lincoln's contribution, and they had $200,000 in net profits that, we would come to the table and say, okay, of that, what needs to be kept for CapEx for future years and future investments, but then what portion of that can be distributed back to the two towns, the two communities to offset the next year's investment. So if, say it's 100,000 that gets decided to go back, we would get our 38% of that, and Lincoln would get their 62% or whatever the portion is that's being paid.
So we can reallocate it the following year.
Right, it would come off the following year's bill. Yep. So
So we wanna leave that,
I
right?
wanna leave that.
Who's the only question there?
And then I think she's fine with what she removed, because I think it was repeating.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
they
she had you talk to Primex, so that's the next one, right?
talked to Primex, and that carries us over to
The second
the
one.
second part of this. Anyone talk?
So their stuff is in blue. And primarily their adjustments were taking out the words Lincoln.
Yeah, until you get to page 7 and 8.
That's right, and that was like, it was really hard to read. So on 7. Number 4, workers' compensation employees liability insurance, so they're suggesting that. We have a number 5. That names,
Yes.
that then names the town of Woodstock, its officials, agents, employees, and volunteers as additional insured on the commercial, general, and automobile policies. On a primary and non-contributory basis. If that's what Primex feels needs to be in there, then yeah,
Yeah.
so. Certainly we aren't going to jeopardize our policy with them.
No.
And then Article 11. Comment best scenario to remove this. If not acceptable, this is okay. So they're suggesting
They would like it gone.
they would like it gone. We can try. If not, what do they want? If the town keeps in place, add the 1 million. So it must be its employees, agents, or contractors under this agreement.
I'll try removing it. If it comes back, then we'll have to.
Add up to 1 million, the
Mhm.
town shall not be liable for. Okay. Yep, let's try it.
And then,
Just when you send it back to him, make a note that that's what you're doing. That you're, okay. And that, Primex had suggested that it was. They wanted it removed.
and that's that. So I
Yep.
will tidy it up now
Yep,
and bring it back to you guys. I'll send it to John.
you gotta send it to John.
Then
I'll make sure it goes to Karina as well, so that she knows what
what we're doing.
we're doing, but. In this round, can you remove Lincoln and put Woodstock in there so that it's,
You're gonna have a clean contract.
okay,
now.
thank you. All right, now. Public participation on the agenda items, and you had a question about the White Mountains Motorsports Park. Sorry.
Yes. If it's a license and what you're granting,
And it's an agreement, yeah.
what you're granting them increases their bottom line for their operation of their business.
But I think that they allow us use of some of their land sometimes too. I don't quote me,
It's
I think it's a one hand washes the other thing.
the strip between us. The racetrack owns down back, we own the upper part, and then there's, I believe, about a 90-something foot, 100-foot strip between the two of us.
Mhm.
We're allowed to use it for staging or whatever we need it for, as long as we don't put anything permanent on it, and they're also allowed to use it. For like parking on weekends and stuff like that, but they can't put anything permanent on that. And what they're asking through this is special permission to park more on
More on our
our property that we're not.
that sells tickets for them. And just a point, as far as assessing for the use of town property, if you go to the last meeting where you folks spent time on a film crew and trying to get them to pay something just to film on the property. And you have the license with the speedway, and you have another license that controls a business in town. And there's nothing there.
It's probably something we should certainly revisit. I
Yeah,
think
but
to
that-
spring them on it this year, I think, but I think we can certainly go to the table with them and say, listen,
You just
we
gotta-
do have, we do have,
they don't know
other
that.
town property that we collected, no, before, and we could certainly look at them or, discuss.
I think we have to revisit the ordinances, or I don't even know, I don't know if it just says specifically park usage on that form. I have to
And
look
not
at it.
town land.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it's specific to the parks, the application that they fill out for,
Okay. No, I think,
I mean, we can.
let's revisit it and look at it over the, this fall.
Mhm.
Or even the summer when it's a little bit quieter to look at it for 2026 and.
I mean, we just had those ordinances that were redone, you might be able to tie it into them.
Yeah.
Cause there was one. About the usage of town property, I believe,
Yeah.
we talked about, but I'd have to read.
Yeah, I think it's. What do you think?
Where are the other places we charge?
We just for the parks, park usage
Cascade,
and
Staple.
that's it.
Yeah, I guess it's all town owned property, so,
Mhm.
yeah.
We'll look at it and discuss
Sure.
what's a reasonable. If the parks are 300, maybe it's $300 a use and there's 4 uses here, so.
I think we
Yep.
just gotta.
That goes in the general fund.
It just struck a personal chord from
Yep.
experience. When Sally and I were in Wolfboro, Nesson was coming up to. They had a program called Divers Down, and I captained the scuba boat down in Wolfboro. They would come to film it. But they wanted folks in town to accommodate them. This is the town of Wolfboro, and the people couldn't sign on quickly enough to give them accommodations in the evening, not charge them for the dive boat, the meals at different restaurants through town, and the rationale and the goodwill was at the end of that show, in the credits, there was an acknowledgement to each establishment that contributed to that. And that goodwill, thinking about I think you said it was college students that were going to be doing a film here. And if in the credits it had said, thanks to the town of Woodstock, that's worth a lot more than $150 that they were assessed.
No, I think that's certainly fair. Look back at it. I'm gonna make a note on it now. Okay. Thank you. Anything else to come before us this evening?
I got a question.
Yes, Mr.
A while back, I heard a rumor about the problem going into the park.
We can't, you can ask your question and we'll discuss it at the next meeting.
I've not, yeah. The
Okay,
question is, I know who it's supposed to be dedicated to, but it's a person who wasn't a veteran.
okay,
And why that was the case. And if it is allowed, which is, I got nothing against him,
Yeah,
I am a veteran.
Yep.
And that is a veterans park. If someone else that's not a veteran does something really good for the town, are they gonna be allowed to be put into that park?
Mr. Malloy has a part.
Mrs. Malloy picked up a lot of garbage and a lot of sticks for years in that park. She took care of that park, and that's why Bill agreed to put the bank in, because that park was brought up back then.
Mr. Fadden served us for a lot of years too.
okay, we're not
Sorry.
discussing.
Sorry.
Not
Sorry.
military.
We will have it on the next agenda to discuss.
I'm
whether-
not disagreeing
I
on it.
know.
My question is.
Yep.
Would the next person,
Yeah, no, we will
that's my question.
review that and
And
then,
I worked under him for years.
Yep.
I've got nothing against
I
him.
know that.
It's just that, looking at it, a veterans.
Yep.
perspective.
No,
That's
it's
all.
giving both
And
sides,
if it happens, whatever.
either way, right?
Yeah, that's just my question.
Yep.
Just prepare for the next person that tries to do that.
Do
Okay,
you wanna add it to the 5:20 agenda?
Do a what?
Do you wanna add it to the next agenda
so it would be a morning meeting.
to discuss?
Oh, I don't care. I'm just my
Well,
own.
no, we're gonna discuss it anyway, because we're gonna have to
When
get
the
an
next
answer.
time you're gonna discuss it, just tell me when.
Okay,
There's minutes
I'll probably be
already
coming to a
on
meeting.
this.
yes, we'll pull them up.
Okay.
I'm sure you're gonna find a way to shut me up. I'm not. No, I'm not gonna.
No, no, oh, hold on.
I'm just saying that there's
Like I
minutes, I
said.
think it's already been discussed and we have minutes on it, but I'll bring them up
We'll
for
bring,
you.
yeah,
Like I said, just as a veteran's perspective,
Absolutely.
we
and
appreciate
I don't
it.
have, like I said, I got nothing against him.
I know,
Worked for him for years, respected him.
Yep.
My concern is what's gonna happen to
the
the
next person, and that makes,
That's all.
yeah,
That's it.
we need to have a criteria of some sort of,
Exactly.
yeah, why?
Where do you put the,
Yep.
oh, no, you can't.
Right,
That's my question.
I think that's
Not
fair,
trying to
coming
stop
up
what's
with,
going on,
yeah, Yep.
not at all.
On that
Sounds good.
subject, I brought it up several months ago, and the response from when I said that it was a veterans park and I did not serve. And he said, well, Plymouth uses it for other than veterans and other towns do, so.
Oh, I don't, yeah, I didn't know that, but, no, I mean, you'd have to put an end to it somewhere, or you'd have
right,
50 monuments of people that were never veterans.
right,
It kind of blows it out of the water of a veterans park.
right.
And that was.
No, I think
Asked.
we'll revisit it and I think it's also worth, yeah, discussing what is that criteria?
And, yeah.
If there's an exception made,
We're in the,
why?
understand you draw that line.
yeah,
I mean, I even volunteered to help put it in, so
yeah.
that's where I'm
Appreciate it.
standing.
Yeah,
I'm just looking for the future.
yep, no, I agree,
I think it was
On Jimmy's side, I just know he was pushing to get one
Yep.
in that park.
right,
Oh, and
To
I,
replace the one that was lost during the war.
right,
him and I discussed that many times too, so I mean, I get it. Yeah, but
Yeah.
you get my point.
I do.
Mhm.
We do. Very good. Anything else?
Yes, this is. This is a good time for me to mention this. Way back in, when I was in college, I belonged to a fraternity. And those were tumultuous days in the 60s and 70s. But before we would close, we would have a house meeting every week. We ran our house, we had a board of directors. And before we closed any meeting, there had to be a brother that would make a statement for the good of the chapter. And I'd like to make a statement. I'd like to make a statement, not because of those present, I've already mentioned it once, the reclaiming of the very old headstones and bringing them back to the life that they were when they were originally put in. That's important. That's the heritage of the town, and I just wanted to let folks know that at least I observed it. That
Thank you.
touches up the resting places of those people.
I'm sure the two in the back of you appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
They've worked hard on the cemeteries.
Well, thank you. And thank you, John. Thank the team, the rest of the team, Jimmy and Mike. Anything else?
Just want to bring up from another meeting a little while ago, that brought up about the public works, should all have water licenses.
Oh, we'll have to, next meeting.
Next meeting?
Yep.
Okay,
We have to treat you all the same way.
no, okay, you did.
Yep.
Yep.
No, we'll add it to the next agenda though, to
Okay.
discuss that, because I think it's important to hear what you have to say, for sure. Okay,
Awesome,
awesome.
I'm good,
We're good?
you good?
All right, I don't know about good, but I'm okay.
Okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn at 5:55 PM. Do I have a second?
Oh, yeah.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Do the same.